Chapter 1. The First Wave. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the barren wasteland. Sarah Carter stood on the crumbling wall of Fort Echo, her eyes scanning the desolate landscape for any signs of movement. Fort Echo, once a thriving military outpost, was now the last line of defense between humanity and the relentless hordes of the Undead. The zombie outbreak had started 5 years ago, spreading like wildfire across the globe. Cities fell, governments collapsed, and humanity was pushed to the brink of extinction. Fort Echo, isolated in the mountains, had become a refuge for survivors. A few hundred men, women, and children had made it their home, fortifying the walls and stockpiling supplies in a desperate bid to outlast the apocalypse. Sarah, a former army medic, had been one of the first to arrive at the fort. She had lost her entire family to the virus and had nowhere else to go. Over the years, she had become one of the fort's most trusted leaders, responsible for organizing patrols, rationing supplies, and most importantly, keeping everyone alive. As the last rays of sunlight disappeared, Sarah's walkie-talkie crackled to life. "Sarah, this is Tom. We've got movement on the east side." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. "How many?" "Hard to say," Tom replied, his voice tinged with anxiety. "Could be just a few, or it could be another horde." "I'm on my way," Sarah said, already descending the wall's ladder. She sprinted through the fort's narrow alleys, passing groups of survivors huddled around makeshift fires. The atmosphere was tense, as always, but tonight it felt different. There had been reports of increased zombie activity in the surrounding areas, and everyone feared that the fort's time was running out. When Sarah reached the eastern wall, she found Tom and a few other guards peering through binoculars. She grabbed a pair and looked out into the darkness. At first, she saw nothing but the barren landscape. Then she spotted them, figures shuffling through the shadows, moving slowly but steadily toward the fort. "Jesus," Sarah muttered under her breath. There were at least a dozen of them, their decaying bodies barely recognizable as human. "They're coming straight for us." Tom nodded grimly. "We've got about 15 minutes before they reach the walls." "Sound the alarm," Sarah ordered. "We need everyone at their posts." Tom ran to the alarm bell and rang it furiously. The sound echoed through the fort, and within minutes, people were scrambling to their positions. The guards armed themselves with rifles and crossbows, while others prepared to defend the inner walls with whatever they could find: axes, hammers, even kitchen knives. Sarah took her place at the wall, rifle in hand, and aimed at the approaching zombies. The creatures moved slowly, but they were relentless, driven by a hunger that never ceased. She had seen them tear through entire communities, leaving nothing but death in their wake. "Wait until they're closer," Sarah instructed the guards. "We can't afford to waste ammunition." The minutes dragged by as the zombies closed in on the fort. Sarah could hear the tension in the guards' breathing, feel the fear that gripped them all. But she couldn't let it show. As a leader, she had to remain calm, focused, and strong. When the zombies were just a few yards from the wall, Sarah gave the order. "Fire!" Gunshots rang out, and the first row of zombies fell, their heads exploding in a spray of blood and bone. But more kept coming, climbing over the bodies of the fallen as they clawed their way toward the fort. Sarah fired shot after shot, each one finding its mark. The other guards followed her lead, their arrows and bullets thinning the horde. But for every zombie that fell, it seemed like 2 more took its place. "They just keep coming," one of the guards shouted, panic rising in his voice. "Keep firing," Sarah yelled back, refusing to let fear take over. The battle raged on, and the stench of decay filled the air as the ground became littered with the bodies of the undead. Sarah's arms ached from the constant recoil of her rifle, but she didn't stop, not even when her fingers went numb.